Hello, and welcome to the Don't You Know I'm Local podcast. We're three cousins looking to break generational curses by sharing our mental health and healing journeys. Join me, Candy, Lisa, and
Rene.
as we talk about
The things we're not supposed to talk about.
Hi, guys.
What's
up?
Welcome back to our channel. Today we're going to be talking about empathy. We're calling this the Kind Mind episode.
Thank you, ChatGPT.
Making it easier, huh?
Yes.
I know. We've started to use a new program for our videos too, which is making it easier. So we're like, okay, we'll let the computers do the work.
AI, baby.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
For real.
For sure.
Yep. All right. So who wants to go first for challenges?
Ooh.
Not all at once.
Not all at once.
Okay, I'll go. So another thing that I've been trying to do is putting myself out there a little bit more.
Mhm.
Try not to be so, because we're I'm going through depression, whatever, it
Mhm.
comes and it goes,
Mhm.
and it's just part of life and everything. And I just had to go through it, had to feel it and everything. And, I said, se me fue, and I'm okay. And I was like, okay, I need to accept invitations
Mhm.
and actually go.
Mm.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
because for a long time, I'm like, no, I have homework, and no, I have this, and no, I can't, right?
Yeah.
And the time's gonna go by anyways.
Mhm.
And I don't know, I just decided to, and it's been so nice, like
Oh, that's
seeing my
good.
friends again, and
Yeah.
even going to see you guys that one time,
Yeah.
and just seeing people again.
That's good.
Yeah,
You're socializing again.
a little bit. Yeah,
Connection's big when it comes to mental health.
yeah.
Sometimes we isolate ourselves and we don't
big
even
time.
realize it sometimes.
Yeah, you
Mhm.
don't. You don't
Mhm.
until you're like, I haven't seen them in a long time. Why? It's
Mhm.
because of me.
Yeah.
It's because I keep putting it off, or I keep declining, or
Mhm.
So yeah, and it
Mhm.
helps big time.
Okay.
So yeah. What about you guys?
Well, I'm glad you're back outside.
Not too much though. I'm not trying to get crazy.
No. Oh, by the way, ladies here. So if you hear heavy breathing and the squeaking might be we might have to take her toy away.
Yeah, let's take her toy.
Okay. So my challenge is that I've kind of been struggling and I didn't realize until like the last couple of days I've been late to work and like not wanting to get out of bed. Like I just go back to sleep. Like today I woke up at 8 and I'm normally like out of my house. Sometimes I'm even at the office by 7:30. So I was like, oh no. Yeah.
Wow.
Like I have to be there by like 9. But I was like, oh no. So I'm like, what's going on? So I think I just need to get back into waking up earlier and taking the dogs for a walk early because then it's gonna start to get hot. So I need to get my body used to that.
The routine.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So that, and then I making breakfast too. I started to do licuados instead of breakfast sandwiches because my breakfast sandwiches I've gained a little bit of weight and I'm like, that's probably why you're eating pan every day. And okay. So I'm like, all right. So I'm trying to be more mindful about my eating and actually moving and starting a new routine for me in the morning because I feel it. Like I feel like I'm like dragging. Like I'm like spiraling slowly and I'm like, oh no. We need to get back on the track.
At least you're aware of it. Some people are just
yeah. And I noticed it the other day when I was like, I don't want to do anything. I just want to chill. But there needs to be a like middle ground between chilling and like
a balance.
Definitely. Yeah. So I need to do something about it. So that's my challenge is trying to wake up before 8 o'clock. But yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I guess my challenge this week was I don't know if I want to call it a challenge. Well, kind of a spiritual challenge.
Mhm.
I've been reading a book called Defined, and it's about religion.
Defined?
Yeah,
Oh.
it's
Never heard of it.
It's really interesting.
Yeah.
It talks about how do you define yourself or does God define you? And I'm like, oh wow, that's pretty deep.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that makes it made sense to me because a lot of times I get confused when people say Jesus. I just follow like Jesus. I mean,
Yeah, Jesus and God and
yes,
Jesus.
I'm like,
Yeah, it's the same.
no, not that. Like, I put everything in Jesus, right? Like when you say it, sometimes I get confused. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Oh.
But I've read the book and I figured it out. It's like, oh, they mean like they're following Jesus's guidelines in a way. Like if you do right, if you do right, if you just essentially if you're just a kind person to everybody,
Yeah,
everything's gonna fall into place. Like,
right. It's like super easy.
Yeah. So I was just understanding that more. Trying to figure that part of myself out. Like I want to get back into it. I'm just not a big fan of like organized religion, right? Because there's so much. What's the word I'm looking for? Corruption in it.
Yeah,
right?
it's a lot of human input into it, you know, and it's. I mean,
when you get humans involved,
it's a circus. It's human, and it's not. It shouldn't be that way.
Yeah. The way Fernando always says it, he's like, well, there's this one book, but look at how many different versions there are, right? And what people take out because they don't like it, and what they keep or what they put in according to what they want their following to do, right? So it's like even between like Christianity and Catholicism, like the rules between those two are totally different. And like I feel like with like Catholicism, sometimes they look like it's not as superior. Christianity is not as superior as Catholicism. It feels like, right? And I'm like, but that defeats the whole purpose of like,
being
right?
Catholic.
Yeah, of being a good person and being kind to your neighbor, right? And I'm like, but there's too many rules. So I get what you mean because you're looking for more spirituality than religion.
To go
I think when I let go of that, all that trying to figure things out and what is what and what, and I was just like, Jesus, this is me and you, you know, and that's why I'm like, I can cuss, I can do these things because it's between me and Jesus. It's us, you know, like it's not between me and the priest, not between me and my mom, not between me and it's not. It's I mean, that's how I feel, and that's what comforts me, and that's nobody else can break that. Nobody else can, you know, just the same thing like with mental health, you know, it's you. It's just you and you.
Yeah. And I did go to mass on Sunday.
Did you?
Yeah. Felt good.
Yeah.
Probably go again.
Yeah.
Try to get back in it just to have a structure, right?
Yeah.
Of my morals, I guess you can say.
That's what I like doing too. I like going to just the whole tradition thing of going and doing that. But
sorry we brought up religion, but
no, that's cool.
part of my
that's
week.
your challenge. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah. It was nice to go. Reading the Bible a little bit more. The book guides you to read some chapters. So I'm like, oh, all right. Yeah, I'm taking it slow though, for sure. Yeah.
Cool.
That was my week.
So like we said, we're calling this the Kind Mind episode. Empathy works so well because it does not require a solution. It requires only understanding. John Medina.
I like that.
Yeah.
You don't have to give the person advice. Just listen to them.
Yeah.
It's hard sometimes.
It is hard.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
In your head, you're like, come on. Really?
Like, here we go again.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So the definition of empathy is the ability to understand and share feelings, thoughts, and experiences of another person. It involves putting yourself in someone else's shoes and genuinely feeling what they are feeling.
Not know why there's a comma there. Should be a period.
Ability to understand, share feeling. I think, like you were saying, empathy is like listening, right? I think that's something. It's like I've heard somebody say like empathy is a lost art, right? Like not everybody has empathy, especially right
right now.
now.
Oh my
Uh-huh.
gosh.
Yeah.
It's crazy how bad it is right now.
Yeah. One more. There we go. Examples of empathy. 1, emotional support. A friend tells you they're heartbroken after a breakup. Instead of just saying, you'll get over it, you say, I can see how much that hurts. I'm here for you if you want to talk. Number 2, listening without judgment. A coworker is overwhelmed with stress. You listen attentively, acknowledging their feelings by saying, that sounds really tough. I can imagine how exhausting that must be. Number 3, helping based on understanding. You notice a classmate struggling to understand a lesson. Instead of giving them the answer, you sit down and say, I had trouble with this part too. Want me to go over it with you? For the first one, that one almost reminded me of your conversation about not feeling supported on the previous episode, about people being like, oh, you'll get over it, and not being empathetic to what you were going through.
Yeah.
That's literally exactly what I thought of when I read that. But I think putting yourself in somebody else's shoes, like it may not be, like in general, it may not be a big deal to you, but it is for them. Right? And being supportive of being like, hey, I'm here if you need me. Like, you can count on me. I feel like that's a big part of empathy too.
Definitely number 2.
Mhm.
I'm gonna say it. Our tias, our moms. Oh my gosh.
They don't know how to do that.
No. Listen without judging. Absolutely not.
No.
Camera lights.
What is that? Listening without judgment.
That's
it's something I'm definitely learning.
Mhm.
We're definitely learning on our own. Through our own experiences. For sure. Now, not back then.
Yeah. For sure. Because it's, I mean, it's hard to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a skill. Empathy is a skill.
For sure.
I definitely think it is.
Yeah. And it's one of those things that, like, especially those that are like very one up.
Oh, one-uppers,
like they're the ones that need it the most, because it's like you don't have to not necessarily relate, but just listen and just put, like you said, put yourself in their shoes and really put yourself in because I mean, if it's the other way around too, like you would want someone to listen to you and not feel like you're bothering them or you're,
True.
Based on understanding.
I like how on the based on understanding says instead of just giving them the answer. Because I think sometimes people do that where they're like, they think they're helping, but they're kind of enabling them, right? To be like, oh, when shit gets hard, I know this person's gonna save me from this. Instead of being like, hey, let's figure out the solution together. I think that's important.
What's the saying? You can teach a man you can feed a man or something like that, a fish, or you could teach him to fish, something like that.
Yeah.
And that's
you can give a man a fish, or you could teach him how to fish, or like with the
you can lead a horse to water.
Yeah,
but you can't
make it drink. Yeah.
We're terrible at these.
We are.
We'll get better at them, I swear. I'll read a book on analogies.
So here's a chart about empathy versus sympathy. Empathy, feeling with someone, understanding their emotions. Sympathy, feeling for someone, acknowledging their hardship. Empathy, deep emotional connection, shared feeling. Sympathy, surface level concern, often more distant. Empathy, I know this must be really hard. I'm here for you. Sympathy, I'm sorry you're going through that. Empathy, centered on the other person's emotions. Sympathy, often mixed with your own reaction to their situation. Empathy, builds closeness and understanding. Sympathy can unintentionally create distance. And then this little figurine over here on this little picture says empathy is I've been there, and sympathy is I feel so bad for you. Huh. So I feel like with sympathy, it's more like, oh, I feel bad for you, right?
Mhm.
And then
Like, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
yeah, and like empathy is like, I feel bad. I've been there too. You know, how can I help you, right?
Mhm.
What about you guys?
Yeah. For sympathy, I see it more like a loss. Like
Uh-huh.
it could, like a funeral or a
Mhm.
death, or empathy's more like for instance, for me, like I can talk to a lot of single moms
Mhm.
because I've been there before,
Mhm.
and I'm able to relate to them more.
Mhm.
So I have empathy for them.
Mhm.
I think that's why it's easier
Mhm.
to connect with them. Does that make
Mhm.
sense?
Mhm.
I don't know. To me,
Yeah,
it
it's like
does.
you have
Yeah.
a commonality between
Uh-huh.
you guys, where it's like you've experienced similar.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I
Like,
think
for
that's it.
me, empathy's gonna play a big role in, like, the position I'm in.
Mhm.
It's gonna be involve me not judging the clients I'm working
Mhm.
with, and just
Mhm.
I get it. I've been there.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, I feel for them, right?
Mhm.
And just not judging them, I
Mhm.
guess,
Mhm.
because it could be easy, right? Like, oh my
Yeah.
god,
Mhm.
really
Mhm.
again?
Yeah.
And I gotta just make sure I don't have that
Yeah.
attitude.
Yeah.
That
You kind of got to see it like not everybody had the same support that you
Mhm.
did,
Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah.
it very well. Because when I think of like unhoused people on the street, I'm like, okay, did they get help? And then, the help ran out. Because sometimes it is like
Mhm.
financial things, right? Or like there's this one guy here, he always posts up at the Target by my job, and he's like, ex-wife had a better lawyer. Like that's what his sign says, right?
His sign?
His sign says ex-wife had a better lawyer. And
That's
I was like,
funny.
well, that's
Yeah,
that's
he's being honest.
I'm like, okay, yeah, because
Mhm.
you never know
Yeah.
what it got there to take, right?
Yeah.
Because like you think about even in college, there's students that don't have a home; they sleep in their car because they can't afford.
Yeah.
Like in California, that's a big thing. Like, just to be like empathetic to the people. Like, I don't know how you got there, but you're still here trying. You're still,
Yeah.
you're still here. I think that's I've looked at things with the unhouseless community that way. So
Mhm.
like I don't know what they've been through, but maybe they are trying to get help, or maybe
Mhm. You never know. That could be you next year,
Uh-huh.
with all the stuff that's
Mhm.
happening. Like I'm sure they never thought they'd be in that
Mm-mm.
position,
Nope.
Like, oh my gosh, that's so hard.
Mhm.
I definitely have to go in there and see it as this way. If I didn't have my parents' support
Mhm.
and family support,
Mhm.
I would have been unhoused also
Mhm.
easily.
Mm,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one little thing,
yeah.
like
One bad month.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Let's see. Opening and defining empathy. How do you personally define empathy? Um,
Just
I
being kind,
Yeah, like being kind, being mindful of people's
Mindful.
feelings.
aware.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Definitely. What's the difference between empathy, sympathy, and compassion? I think compassion. So I think kids are like the biggest people who show compassion. Like it's just in their nature, right? Like they don't
yeah.
second think anything the way we do, right?
Compassion is more like a natural thing.
Yeah.
Mm.
And it's
Yeah.
not until like, you have influences in your life that shift you from that.
Mm.
For me, sympathy is like I said, feeling bad for somebody. Um, and empathy is like you feel bad, but you've also been there, so you know what they're going through.
Mhm.
Um, what about you guys?
I would say the same thing,
Yeah,
honestly.
like
Like,
relating. Empathy is more like, like relating to something.
Mm-hmm. Do you think empathy is innate or learned?
Learned.
It's learned.
Mhm.
I
Like you-
wish it was
like you mentioned
innate.
about compassion.
Yeah.
I think, like you said, we're all compassionate at one point. And it
Mhm.
goes away because life happens.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And you kind of lose that compassion.
Mhm.
And you got to relearn it. Relearning is the empathy
Mhm.
part.
Mhm. Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's there was times where I definitely was not empathetic at
Uh-huh.
all.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
And I was going through so much shit.
Yeah.
And I guess I was being selfish, right?
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
But I was surviving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I
Yeah.
have no excuse not to be empathetic to somebody.
Yeah.
'Cause I've been there.
Yeah.
Mhm. I mean, you even had empathy for the orange man. So.
I did, yeah. But a couple episodes ago,
Yeah.
go back and watch that. What I said.
Sorry, that's one person I cannot have empathy for at all. Can you share a moment when someone showed you deep empathy? How did it affect you? Ooh, that's a good one. Anybody?
I can't think of a.
Empathy.
Yes, finally, the years of my parents being more sympathetic about what happened to me.
Uh-huh.
I had to explain it to them that what happened to me it didn't just happen to me, it happened to us.
Mhm.
And they finally showed me empathy, and they're like, "We're so sorry. You're right. This happened to us. Share your pain with me."
Mm.
It was a good moment.
Yeah.
I know I had to kind of explain it to them, but
Yeah.
they got it, and
Yeah.
they realized that, hey, this was a family experience.
Uh-huh.
Even though I just told them like not too long ago,
Yeah.
but I was finally able to share that pain with them
Mhm.
instead of
Yeah.
me just taking it all.
Yeah.
It was a very important part
Yeah.
part of my life, I think.
Yeah.
It helped.
Huge.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Huge.
Yeah, it's a big validation.
Yeah.
Especially for holding that for so many years.
Mhm.
And now it's like you finally push that weight off of you
Yeah.
to share it.
Absolutely.
And then to go further and share, like, hey, this didn't just happen to me, it happened to us as a family is a big deal.
Yeah.
And your
Mhm.
family has grown so much too.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
your dad.
I
Your dad
Mhm.
said I love you.
know. Still trying to get the second one.
Hey.
Hey, the start though, right?
Yeah,
The
heck
start.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I would say my boss, she my old boss.
Mhm.
It's funny because like she was my first non-military boss,
Mhm.
but she's been like the best leader I've ever had. Like,
Mhm.
man, this lady has shown me so much.
Mhm.
And the way she shows me is by recommending books or buying us books or I need to get closer. Sorry.
It was going sideways.
Like she's the one that introduced me to Brene Brown. Like
Oh,
I guess
okay.
she saw her at a like at a woman's expo or whatever,
Mhm.
and she bought like everybody in the office books
Oh,
like from her,
wow.
and she
That's
just like
dope.
we did like a book club and
Oh, that's cool.
and she was more like, I would just want to empower you guys. I want to like show you guys that, you know, like we've all been through stuff and,
Mhm.
you know, but we can, you know, get through it. And this was during COVID time too. So it was like really like impactful and stuff. So I think it affected me big time because now I've read like almost all her books and now I'm going back and going to start re-listening to them and getting more out of it.
Mhm.
So yeah. What about you guys?
I don't know. I'm still stuck. I'll go back to this one.
Okay.
Have you ever found it hard to be empathetic in this situation? What held you back? There's definitely instances where I feel like in some situations where people knowingly put themselves in situations and then like they want people to feel bad, but it's like, but you did that on like you made those choices on your own.
Here, have some sympathy.
Yeah. And it's like, no. Or like even situations in my own life where it's like I set boundaries and I said how I felt. And then now that the other person wants to come back and be like, have conversations. And I'm like, no, I'm done with that. Like, I'm done with that. Like even, and it goes so far back as like with that friend that I had, right, that I cut off. Same thing. I created my boundaries and I cut you out of my life completely to the point where I had to cut you off on Pinterest. Like, you don't get any empathy because those are your own actions. Like, no, you don't like that. I think that's where I'm like, no, like, because when being empathetic to you is affecting my own peace, that's where I'm sorry, I can't be empathetic in a situation like that. So, what about you guys?
Just recently, like a week ago, my perpetrator had a conversation with my family members, and they didn't take accountability for their actions, right? I felt like they were trying to get sympathy or empathy from my family member, and I was like, no, like there needs to be accountability. There needs to be change.
Yeah.
If there's no change with this person, then nothing's going to change. And I would be the first person to take them to where they need to go to get the change. And it's just, I dig deep for it.
Yeah.
Like, where's this empathy for this person? And I could not find it. And it almost made me feel bad, but at the same time, like, that's my boundary right there.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And I can see where, like, because of the way that we're raised, we're made to feel bad, right? For being like, oh, we're family. And it's like, but where was that we're family when we were taken advantage of or when these things were done to us? Like, it didn't matter to them then. Like, so why would it matter now?
Yeah.
And I would agree with you. It's hard because I set that boundary for myself a long time ago. And it's hard because with those boundaries, it also kind of affects, right, your circle of people that surround you.
Yeah.
But it's you have to do that for yourself because it's like you want to have empathy, but you also want to be a healthy, thriving person, and that could stop you from being that. What about you, Lisa?
I think in a situation like at work, where it's, you have the it's hard because I'm that single mom too, but there's a single mom where she's barely getting by, but she's still trucking along, but it's just like she's late. She's like very, but it's just, I mean, she makes up her time and everything, but it's just like, it's one of those, it's like you feel bad, but
yeah. You just reminded me of my own works too. No empathy. Yeah. Like for a while, that situation at work was like, I started to get like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, not irritated, but like
hold resentment.
Resentful. Oh. Yes. Resentful of it. Like, you get no like nothing happens to you. You just get to do what you want. And like, that's not fair. Like, how are we getting paid the same? And we're not doing the same, right, amount of work. And now I'm just like, I have no empathy for you. You do that to yourself. If you run out of chances, that's on you. Like, I know you have a family, but I'm sorry. Like, no, if it was me, like, I wouldn't, you do that to yourself. Like, you dug your own hole, right? And it's like, I'm sorry, before I would. Now I'm like, no, I've run out of empathy for you. Like, how has your understanding of empathy changed over time?
I think with mental health and everything, you understand people more.
Yeah.
Because you're like, okay, there's something wrong there. Like everything leads to, okay, something's wrong.
Yeah.
And I think after you get that whole, what is that called when you realize you're self-aware,
Uh-huh.
you gain a lot of empathy for people.
Mm-hmm.
I think it just comes with it because you're just like, because you see shit differently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're
For
like,
me.
that's not
Yeah.
about me. That's about you. But
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just the one catching the fire,
Yeah.
kind of thing. Uh-huh.
I have a story about that
Okay.
relates to that then.
Okay.
This is my story, so I'm gonna tell it. Like, if somebody gets upset, then that's on them, right?
Uh-huh.
When I was 17, I worked at a cleaners and run by a family member. He gave me the job. I was grateful for that, right? It was my first job ever.
Uh-huh.
It was between my graduation and my first year in college. Our grandpa passed away.
Oh, uh-huh.
Mhm.
And went to the cemetery. Went to the funeral. Went to the cemetery, and the family member that I worked for, that was his grandpa too,
Mhm.
but he
Mhm.
wasn't close to a grandpa. I didn't. There's a lot of stuff involved, right?
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
And he asked me. He demanded I go back to work, and I was just like, "What?"
Uh-huh. Like after the funeral, you
After the cemetery, yeah.
Oh.
And I was just like, "I'm gonna go hang out with my
Yeah.
cousins," and
Mhm.
Like we go
there was
and do a reception and do
Yes.
a mourn.
Mhm.
and fired me at the cemetery right there on the spot.
Wow.
And I think I held that I always laughed at it, but I was like, I also, not the more I thought about it, I was just like, damn, that was kind of shitty. Like
That
my
hurts.
first firing
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
to that, right?
Mhm.
And I was angry and laughed at it at the same time.
Mhm.
It confused the hell out of me because I was like, wait,
Mhm.
what did I do?
Mhm.
Right?
Mhm.
Then I realized, because we were talking about empathy recently,
Mhm.
that it wasn't about me. It wasn't
Mhm.
about what I did. It was that person's pain that they were going through for
Mhm.
whatever
Mhm.
reason.
Yeah.
You know, it still doesn't make it right what they did, but I understand why they did it.
Yeah.
Now. It's not, it wasn't something that I did. It was something that they were
Mhm.
going through.
Mhm.
So when it comes to empathy, like when you brought that up, I'm like,
Mhm.
oh.
Mhm.
So it helped me figure out
Mhm.
things about myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
I'm not angry.
Huh.
I don't think I've ever was angry about it. I was more
Uh-huh.
confused.
Yeah. Yeah.
My sister was angry about
Yeah. Yeah, that was weird.
it.
Oh.
But I forgive him too. Like,
Yeah.
I get it.
Challenges to empathy. Why do you think empathy can be difficult in today's society? Definitely politically, it makes it
Yeah.
hard because
Mhm.
people will say it's like their political stance, but when your political stance endangers people's lives or their
Mhm.
livelihood, that's crossing the line, or it's like
Mhm.
I can't be empathetic to that. Like you chose that.
Mhm.
What do you about you guys?
Um, there's something called the manosphere or something like that. Have you heard of that?
Mm-mm.
So it's like all these podcasts with like Joe Rogan and like these very pro men, and they're pretty much teaching the opposite of what we're doing, right? They're saying
Mhm.
be a man, and man doesn't do that.
Oh,
And
that whole thing with that
Toxic
guy.
masculinity.
toxic
Yeah.
masculinity, big
Uh-huh.
time. But
Uh-huh.
it influences people, like especially you're a young dude,
Mhm.
and who do you want to be, like this tough guy or somebody
Mhm.
that's
Uh-huh.
empathetic? Like it should be obvious, right? But
Mhm.
a lot of times it's not.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of like societal pressure
Mhm.
to be a fucking jerk,
Mhm.
to be mean, to be
Mhm.
tough, and it's like, why?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Especially if the sorry to bring it political again, but
Mhm.
if it's the right wing that's
Don't be
supposed to be these Christian people,
Mhm.
like you guys are doing the opposite. Like you guys would hate Jesus right now if he
Mhm.
showed up.
Mhm.
Jesus was all about
Yeah.
love and acceptance. Like
Mhm.
that doesn't even make
It goes,
sense what you guys are
totally
talking about.
against.
Yeah.
Totally against.
They would have kicked Jesus out of this country because he's brown.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. I always think it's funny. There's this influencer. Her name is Drew Afualo, and she like goes after those type of men, right? And they go in her comments. She goes, they always say like I'm ugly, I don't have a man,
Oh my
and she's
gosh.
like, I have a man, and her man is fine. But she goes after them, and she's like, these men, like, they're being assholes, and then they're like, women are so mean, they're so mean to us, and it's like, well, what the fuck do you think is going on? Like, hello, like her content always makes me laugh, because she did, like, one of her first ones that went viral was like 10 red flags of a I forgot what it was, but it was like, says The Wolf of Wall Street is her favorite movie ever. Like, 10 red flags of a douchebag. It's like, wears a hat backwards and all this stuff, right? And I was like, you have to see it. I'll have to send it to you guys. But
funny.
yeah, her stuff is funny. And it's just like, when you saying that, I'm like, that's literally the people that she talks about, that they're like all these things. But yeah, it's hard to have empathy sometimes, especially right now. Man.
Real quick, when it comes with dating, I'm not dating because of the woman. I'm not dating because of the what it is right now, which is like online dating. I just don't like it because there's I feel like there's too many options out there now. And it's scary. It's not the women themselves at all, right? We're all the same. We're all out there trying to find our one. But it's just more like the situation than the actual people.
Yeah.
The environment of it.
Yeah, the environment.
I told you, go to the library. Go to the library, Rene. You'll find somebody there. The grocery store. Is there such a thing as too much empathy? Can it become emotionally exhausting?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Agreed.
Yeah.
You gotta keep it for yourself. Too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Because then you get taken advantage of.
Yeah. Boundaries. You gotta set boundaries.
Yep.
There's boundaries on empathy too. Fucked up as that might sound, but there is.
Yeah. How do you maintain boundaries?
There should be. Oh wait.
Yeah. How do you maintain boundaries while still being empathetic? What
It's
do you
a tough
think?
one. That's definitely a tough one. You gotta just case by case basis.
Yeah.
When I see it. You can't just throw it out there. Empathy if it's not real, if it's not genuine.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Oh no.
It's not working again, guys.
The mouse.
Oh, here. Oh, there it goes. Of course. What's one misconception about empathy you'd like to challenge?
I have one. Because I'm a man. That is not just a female thing. It should be across the board a human thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
If more people practice empathy daily, what kind of world would we live in? A great world.
Yeah, a much kinder.
It would be
world.
like a Disney movie, but like the original one.
Yeah,
with the original one.
Maybe that is the way heaven's gonna be, huh?
Yeah, everybody's empathetic.
No, because they don't be letting everybody in.
Oh, yeah.
That's true.
What kind of world? Yeah.
A small step to take today to be more empathetic. I think just like listening, being more mindful when listening, being kind, like you were saying, being kind. Like, I know that this doesn't technically qualify as being empathetic, but when I'm out like at the stores or I'm out in the streets, I'll be like, oh, I like your so-and-so, or oh, nice this.
That might make somebody's
nice
day.
that. Yeah, because it does to me, you know, and people are like, oh, I like your this. Even yesterday's recording, Rene was like, oh, cool skirt. And I was like, oh, even Rene noticed my skirt. Okay.
I think you look like a mermaid.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah, like just bring joy into the world.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, I like that. Joy.
bring joy to the joy to the
That reminds me of something that happened earlier at my job. I walked into like one of the centers, right? We were there, and I was like, damn, I feel tall in here. What the fuck? Right? Walk past this lady's office. She goes, wow, you're tall. I'm like, thank you. But I was like, wait, that's genetics.
Thank you. I worked hard on
Thank
it.
you. I worked hard on my height.
That's funny. Oh my god! Before we end this, before we get to deep, apparently I have a soundtrack in my head that's like buffering, and I didn't realize it until literally before this recording, Lisa was like, why do I sing that song? And I'm like, it's like, and I'm like, why? I don't know why, but I'll always be like, dun 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 dun, ding 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 ding.
Yeah.
I told her that I wanted to do that. Sometimes I'm like, yeah.
Is that your soundtrack? Is that your soundtrack? We're walking around just.
When I'm like buffering, like like the computer when it does that circling around, right? That's what's my head. My head's
She's
like
done it so many times.
At least you're aware.
Yeah.
Now I am.
Now she is.
Now I am. Literally mid. I was like, ding. Quiet. Stop myself. Because I was going to be like, ding, 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 ding. I was like, I don't know why I do that. But okay. I was like, and why that song? But okay. Yes, that's my buffering soundtrack. Just thought I would share that with you guys. All right. You guys ready to take it deep?
Deep.
Alrighty.
Here we go.
All right. How would you describe your childhood overall?
Oh my
Jesus.
God.
Pass.
Should we pass this one?
Yeah, we'll pass.
We need a therapist for here for that.
I know. We're going to do all those the childhood things.
All right. Would you rather have the superpower of invisibility or flight?
Flight.
Flight.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Fly everywhere?
Hell yeah. I'll be on vacation all the time.
But invisibility too, though.
That's kind of creepy to me.
Yeah, kind of, huh? But so is flying. Like,
flying?
oh, no, I guess not.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
But I will probably still be late. But like there was traffic.
Yeah.
There was air traffic. Sorry.
I was flying. Like that'd be cool. It'd be like a bird.
That would be so cool.
You
Just
said
like,
we had dreams about flying before, right?
We did, yeah. She's
Yeah.
Superman.
Yeah.
I'm a bird. I'm Birdman, remember? And I forgot what you said. How do you fly?
I think I pushed down.
Oh,
Right?
okay.
Like Iron Man.
Iron Man. Yeah, you were Iron Man. I'm Superman, Iron Man, and I'm Birdman. Oh my God.
I think with invisibility, I do too many criminal things, like rob a bank.
Yeah,
Oh, uh-huh.
Too much temptation.
Temptation, huh?
Nah. No, because then how would everybody see my outfits?
Yeah.
That's what my coworker, the señora that sits in front of me, she's like, me and her, and I'm going to say this with all confidence, me and her are the best dressed in the office, right? Like, she gives me a run for my money. That's why we had a twin day. She was my twin.
Oh my God.
And we matched. But she's like, I don't want to retire. She goes, because then nobody's going to see my clothes. Where am I going to wear my clothes to? I was like, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's cute. I like that.
But yeah. All right. Don't forget to use 211 resources.
Mhm.
Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, at Don't You Know I'm Local podcast is our handle for everything. And tune in next week for our episode on accountability, owning the journey, accountability, and mental health. So see you next week.
Hasta luego.
Bye.
That means goodbye.
Adios. Thank you for joining us. If you are in need of any medical assistance, please contact your local provider. If you are having thoughts of suicide, please call the National Suicide Hotline at 988. In case of emergency, call 911. See you next week as we talk about the things we're not supposed to talk about.